Welcome to this week's episode of the Lido Loop. I am your host, Jack McCraw. With me, as always, my good friend, Jesse Barboza. And by the way, Jesse, this weekend, I will be heading back to the casino. Do you think I'm going to walk away a winner or with no money again?
How many times have you walked away a winner, Jack?
Define winner. If I walk away with money that I actually brought to the casino and then some, then yes. But I would say maybe 3 out of 10 times I go, I walk away with a little something more. But it doesn't happen too often in Louisiana, which is where we'll be heading to. So we'll definitely tell you all about my winning experience next week, hopefully. But on the other side of things, Jesse, what's the latest and greatest in the cruise news?
Yeah, so in Royal Caribbean news, they apparently launched a Find My Kid ban, and apparently a principal changes a school calendar in order to help her cruise schedule. And the biggest announcement is actually Carnival announces a new class of ship.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear about that new class of ship for Carnival. On the theme park and travel side of things, there's a Delta executive that's saying flight prices may not go down anytime soon, but we're here to talk about how that might not be entirely true. Another kid has jumped out of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and there's a big rumor swirling around a certain Disney park attraction that could be going down for a major refurbishment. That we bring on our friends Jasper and Lydysay to talk about how they went to every single Disney park around the world and advice that they're going to give to you, our audience, as to how you can do that as well. That and much more on this week's episode of The Lido Loop. So for those of you new to the show, welcome. We are the Lido Loop, where we talk about all things cruising, theme parks, travel, and casinos, and of course, much more. We always like to start the show with the cruise news. Now, Jesse, I'm hearing Royal Caribbean is launching a Find My Kid app. So is that you lose your kid and there's like a tracking device on them, or how does that work?
Yes, it's kind of, I don't know if it's necessarily an app, it's more of a band that you get. So apparently, it's made for ages 3 to 12, and you pretty much purchase this band. It is $14.99. It's called a Adventure Ocean Wow Band. I'm not sure how they came up with that name, Wow Band.
Do you think it's like an acronym for where is the kid? I just came up with that off the top of my head.
Yeah, actually, maybe. I don't know. But right now, this is available on Star of Seas and Legend of the Seas. I guess they're kind of first testing on the Icon class of ship. But apparently the band is going to be reusable, so you can use it for future cruises. So, I mean, if you just pay one time $15, I think it's worth it. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, especially with you. I mean, I know your kids are a little bit more grown now, but, when they were younger, they were just running around the cruise. And they're, at least with your kids, they were a little bit easier to find because one would always be by the pizza, and the other one would probably be in the arcade or just finding ducks somewhere. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the biggest thing that like people are saying is that they think parents are gonna like put these bans on them and think that that's supervising them. That's what a lot of people are saying, which I can see their point because they kind of know where they're at, but just because they know where they're at doesn't mean they're not getting in trouble or they're not running down the hallways,
knocking at doors at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But hey, I know where the kid is. I see. Look at the app right here. Look at the tracker.
Yeah. So I mean, what do you think? Do you think that it's definitely good? I think it's a useful tool, me personally. But what do you think? Do you think it's a useful tool?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's good to know where your kids are pretty much at all times, especially if your kids do tend to run off. And again, it is a cruise ship, so there's really not a whole lot of places they could go. But at the same time, that kid has that freedom to explore and do what a kid does, but at the same time, like the parent has some sort of supervision over them, or at least knows where they are in case like they're needed or something.
Yeah, so you don't have to like purchase anything with it. It will pop up on your app itself, so you don't have to purchase like Wi-Fi to use it or anything like that. But it's actually just more than just a tracker too. It's also can unlock stateroom doors, which MSC they actually have it. They're kind of like medallions on Princess cruises too. You can actually make onboard purchases only if the parents enable the spending part of it, of course. It also displays a child's muster station for emergencies. So I don't know. Me personally, I don't see anything bad in it. honestly at all, but I don't know why they did 3 to 12. I don't know why they decided that age group. I mean, I definitely can see younger kids for sure because sometimes they wander off, and you want to make sure you you.
Yeah, I feel like the younger the kids, especially they see a pool and they run to the pool and you lose sight of them, or whatever sort of situation could occur where you just momentarily lose the kid. It's like, oh, check the app. Okay, they're right there, and then you can easily find that kid. And I am a little surprised. I mean, I guess you could technically use this for adults too, where you could just you lose your friends. Like, where are they? Oh, yeah, there they are.
Or you can use it so you can avoid that area.
Oh, see, that's smart. I think that's actually why they did it.
Yeah. So
It's
you're
like,
like, oh,
oh,
my kids are right next to me. I'm gonna go on the other side of ship.
So here's the thing, like they're gonna put that on you, and then they're gonna be like, where's dad at? Oh, he's at the casino again. I mean, we would have figured that out with or without that man, but yeah, I do think that this is definitely a worthwhile invention, especially for, like I said, like children that do tend to run off. So it's more so a secondary safety precaution to find this kid instead of looking all over the ship for them. So overall, yes, I would say the Find My Kid feature on Royal Caribbean is definitely a good idea. But what wasn't a good idea is a principal changing the school calendar to accommodate her cruise. Jesse, I know you are an avid cruiser and you have to change your work schedule to go on cruises, but I think changing a whole school calendar is a little bit crazy, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't know if it's crazy or smart. I mean, it's kind of it's a definitely flip of a coin. Either way, I think it's kind of smart.
Do principals not get paid leave like any other job in the world? Did the principal just not want to use her vacation time to go on a cruise?
I don't know exactly because this story definitely didn't even happen in the United States. It actually happened in England. So the story was apparently a lady named Joy Ballard. She was a former principal at a Ride Academy in England, and they apparently investigated her and found that she changed the school academic calendar so it would best fit around her personal cruise vacation. So she admitted that she altered the dates for the 2023 fall year and also the spring of 2024 year. And she also missed the important staff day because she was returning from a cruise.
I mean, that's a pretty good reason to miss work if you're returning from a cruise. You can't really just get off the ship and then go to work immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why she did it because of the price. Everyone knows that when kids are in school and all that, that's when you're going to find the cheapest cruises because I mean that's when the ships are going to be packed because that's when people normally take vacations is like during summer or Christmas break.
When kids are out of school.
Yeah, exactly. So she changed it. I mean, it seemed like should have been making enough money, right? That should have been able to afford to go on a summer cruise or a little Thanksgiving or Christmas. Well, they don't have Thanksgiving. They do, but this is England or a Christmas cruise.
It makes me wonder because I mean, the school you did say it sounds like a private academy, and I don't know that to be a fact. So I was thinking any sort of public school, this would not fly whatsoever. Like that's like calendar's been set in stone since like the year before. So having her being in charge of a private school, maybe she had a little bit more leeway to do that, but it just flew under the radar for some reason. And I don't know, we can't really speak if kids in England do get a fall break like we do here in America in certain school districts, but it does seem really odd that this were to happen. And, maybe at the end of the day, she was just trying to save her vacation days for something else and just take advantage of the fact that, hey, if there's no school here, I don't have to take any time off. I'm already going to be off and go on the cruise. Now, it's smart, but probably wasn't the right thing to do.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm almost positive that when the students when they saw this like why are you out of school and it's February, random week in February. Why are you not in school?
Yeah, they got Valentine's week off, The kids need to celebrate Valentine's Day like that. But so yeah, if you're a principal, don't be changing the school calendar just so to accommodate your cruise. Just use your vacation and PTO like everyone else does in the world. And, continuing the cruise news, Carnival has announced a new class of ship. Jesse, the floor is yours. Tell us all about this new class of ship.
Yeah, so Carnival has officially announced their next class of ships, which everyone's been calling the Project Ace. So, and they actually kind of kept that name as this is officially going to be the Ace class of ship. So they officially named the first ship in this category as Carnival Destiny, which this is an old name they use, which I thought they didn't like this name anymore because they changed the old Destiny to the Carnival Sunshine, which it is today. Did you? I don't know. What do you think, Jack? Do you think that they should have choose a different name or what?
I mean, do you think there's a little bit of nostalgia when it comes to the Carnival Destiny? Because I'm looking on here, it did say it ran from 1996 to 2013. I mean, so that at least the ship had that name because the ship, like you said, is still readily available and still sailing. But I think it's a good name. It does sound like that Carnival could potentially be reusing old ship names for this new Ace class ship, as long as they don't use the Triumph, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What I was thinking is that they're going to call it Carnival because I mean they have the Tropical and then they got the Festival. I thought they were going to try to keep that cow, So
Do you think that would be confusing to call it the Carnival?
I mean, maybe that's why they didn't bring it back. But that's what, if I had to guess, that's what I thought they were going to use. But I mean, there's still plenty of other names that they could use for the next class of ships.
What are some other names that you think that they would use for this next class of ship? Do you think it would be older ship names as well?
Yeah, I think it seems like that's the theme that they've been doing because they did the Mardi Gras, the Festival, the Tropical, Jubilee, Celebration. Those are all like old names, and then of course now Carnival Destiny. But some of the other names that they haven't used is Carnival Victory, which that changed to Carnival Radiance. They haven't used Carnival. They haven't used Holiday, uh, Fantasy, and I doubt they're going to use this next one, but Ecstasy.
I would say that there's a little bit of a, let's say, innuendo when it comes to ecstasy. Like, I understand the word itself just means just you're a high on happiness, but yeah, I think they would stay away from that. Yeah, I think that maybe they own the trademark to those names, and that's why it's probably easier for them to just reuse and rename it. Maybe it's not necessarily a nostalgia play, but having that, you know, back end of names to use for the ship does make it a little bit easier in the naming process. And, even though I did just say it might not be nostalgia, there could be people that did sail these older class ships names like, oh, this ship is, quote, coming back, but it's a brand new ship and has nothing to do with the original. So tell me more about this new upcoming ship, the Carnival Destiny.
Yeah, so this, like I said, it's the Ace class. It's an all new, class. I'm guessing that they're done with the XL class ships, which is kind of weird because this class is actually bigger than the XL class ship. So,
it's XXL now.
Yeah, you would think that, right? I don't know. They might actually end up changing the name. I'm guessing of the XL class ship. But anyway, so they have 3 ships in order, which would be 29, 31, and 33. So they still got plenty of time to keep creating more and more ships. Their expected delivery is in the summer of 29. Fincartini is actually the manufacturer. He's actually built tons of Carnival ships, and he's actually a really good shipbuilder. This is expected to be 230,000 gross tons. It's supposed to have 8,000 guests, which is actually more than the Icon holds. It may not be as big as a ship, but it actually holds more guests than the Icon, which is kind of crazy. They're actually going, like I said, they have 2 more in this class on 31 and 33. So to put in kind of comparison, Carnival Jubilee is 183,500 gross tons, which will hold 6,600 guests. So Carnival Destiny is 230,000 and hold 8,000 guests. That makes Destiny about 25% larger than the XL, which is massive. It's definitely. So apparently there's going to be a lot of new public spaces, new entertainment concepts, new dining venues, technology upgrades, more family attractions, new cabin categories. There's apparently going to be like 4.5 acres of glass that's going to be on this.
Because they want to make sure that people see the view of the ocean.
And yeah, exactly. And that's actually the main point of that they definitely pointed out when I watched Christie's Christy Duffy's, which is the president of Carnival, presentation on this, is they pointed out that it's all about seeing the sea. Um, I was wondering, like, because we saw this news and we posted on Facebook's, the ones that did see it. We were thinking that, honestly, when I first saw the news, what did I tell you, Jack? Do you remember what I told you?
No, actually, I don't. What did you tell me?
I actually told you that I thought there was going to be a new private island because in the background they had Half Moon Cay and then they actually had Celebration Key in it. I thought they were going to put something in the middle, like a new private destination, like in Mexico. Maybe they can actually do something in Mexico, unlike
They brought back Perfect Day Mexico. They bought it and then they made it theirs.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But then it seemed like all they did was add a ship in it. But if you look at the actual like picture of the ship, they did like a 360 degree. You pretty much don't see anything because they still haven't like pointed out exactly like what's going to be on it. Like how many slides are going to be on it. They don't have new venues, anything like. They haven't mentioned no news on that yet. I'm sure that's perfect for Carnival because it kind of slowly releases it.
Yeah, and I think new and more details will come out, closer to it, and so they can start building up hype for this. But one thing that I noticed when I was reading the article was that the amount of rooms is going to like increase exponentially for not only balcony but also like window, ocean view rooms. Excuse me.
Yeah, exactly. There will be a lot more balconies and ocean views on this. And they also said that 70% of this is going to be new venues and stuff. So they might, I don't know, in a worst case scenario, Jack, do you think they're going to go away with Guy's Burger?
There's no way. I said, I think 75% new.
70%.
70% new. So yeah, no, that 30% that's going to stick around is Pirate Pizza, Guy's Burger, hopefully some Guy's Barbecue, or Shaq's Big Chicken. I think those are the ones, the staples that need to stay. Everything else, yeah, brand new. Maybe Blue Iguana, but I'm not really a big fan of that.
What I was thinking they might end up doing with the Guy's Burger is actually make it more like a restaurant. Like have a Guy's Burger and more or something like that, where they still have the normal where you pick up the burger and go, but they also have more seating where they have more food and Guy Fury's more in it. Like they have other types of burgers and stuff like that.
I think that would be a good idea. And I think that there has been an issue with Carnival, especially, on the first day when you are just looking for a place to sit and the Guy's Burger is the only thing open. Having a little bit more, food options will definitely help. And, I'm curious to try some of the new offerings. And it sounds like there's going to be some, new dining locations. So maybe some, and maybe a new steakhouse, maybe expanded dining from what Carnival normally offers. So it'll be very exciting to see.
Yeah, I definitely think that if they go away with Guy's Burger on this, they might as well call it Carnival Triumph.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you bring back the poop cruise without Guy's Burger. That's absolutely crazy. But in addition to new dining options, what else do you think that they could be putting on this new class of ship, Jesse?
Well, since they on the new Tropical and Festival, they kind of went away with the roller coaster that they have on like Jubilee. I think that they're gonna expand the water park like what they did on those two ships, and they're probably going to make it more like an icon with the new slides and stuff like that. I definitely expect there's going to be a lot more bars. So some of the iconic bar names, like they may go away completely.
Even Tides Bar?
Well, Tides Bar, actually, it's kind of weird. Yeah, Tides Bar is very popular. I actually like the back of the ship bar. Sometimes it's not Tides Bar, but no matter what ship we're on, we call it the Tides Bar, even if they have a different name because we're just so used to it being called the Tides Bar.
It's so much easier than saying the bar in the back of the ship next to the pool with a roof or the hot tubs.
Yeah, exactly. But I definitely think that they should go away with the Grand Central Station like they have on the Jubilee because honestly, I hate it because you're sitting there and that's where they have most of the shows are right there in the Grand Central Station. But they if you want to go to anything, you gotta kind of walk through there in order to go to other venues. And I don't know. Maybe it's just I like the iconic walking into the elevator. You look into the atrium and you see the elevators all the way up. Maybe that's what it is. That's when you're on a Carnival ship, right?
Yeah, that's everything first people see is just that glorious atrium. It's like, oh man, this is going to be an incredibly nice, fancy cruise. Go anywhere else and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is just a normal ship.
But I definitely can see that Carnival, every ship they build, it seems like they're adding more and more food venues because the people love that. I can tell. Like that's one thing no one even comes close to Carnival on is the amount of food venues. There's I mean, of course, my favorite is Guy's Burger. I like Guy's Barbecue. Me personally, I don't even like. I know this is a hot take, but I'm not a big fan of Blue Iguana. I think it's because that first time I got sick after eating it, and that was on Carnival Freedom in like 2016. But hey, I mean, some people love it though.
I mean, it's definitely a staple. Like every single cruise that I've been on, especially Carnival, has a blue iguana, and it's one of those staples that probably won't go away. They probably own like the intellectual property with that. But yeah, like we were saying earlier, I hope that our favorite restaurants stay, but they actually have some new ones as well. I'm excited to hopefully see some more, slides. We went on the Carnival Breeze, and that had two really nice water slides and like the obstacle course ropes race. Whereas the Glory, I think it maybe had one slide, but I remember it was also like so rainy that we couldn't even go outside except for one day.
Yeah, they did have two slides, but they're kind of basic slides. That Glory and Conquest, that whole class isn't really made for kids. I think that's why that class of ship is mainly they're doing a lot of the sea sailings, which are the adult only sailings on those ships, because there's really not a lot of stuff to do for like kids on them.
Yeah, and that could also be something that they could have for these new class of ships is a little bit more kid friendly, but also pertaining to the adults as well with those new entertainment offerings and more restaurants as well.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the cruise news. So in travel and theme park news, so Jack, so Delta executive says that flight prices will remain the same, but it doesn't seem like that.
I would say that statement is a little bit misleading and kind of a summary of what happened. Delta said airline fares are likely to remain elevated even if fuel prices do decrease. So the CEO, Ed Baniston, said higher labor, technology, and operating costs are driving ticket prices to go up. And Delta estimates some low cost airlines, such as Frontier, Allegiant, JetBlue, and so on, are still need to raise fares by about 5% to break even. So, yes, that part is true that it's kind of like anything with inflation. Like once it goes up, it rarely ever comes back down because we're not going to see gas at like 67 cents a gallon like we did in like the late 80s, early 90s. That's just not feasible. But as far as airline prices go, I mean, I think that will fluctuate with the travel demand. Now, I think at this point in time, people are wanting to travel, so that's why the demand is pretty high. But you can also find cheaper airlines depending on where you want to go. Now, yeah, if you want to go to Seattle, you're like just speaking out of Houston, it's probably still going to be about $400 even on Alaskan Airlines or any other United, Delta, American. So, yeah, with Spirit gone, the new low cost budget carriers did increase their prices a little bit, but they can always still keep their prices just under the Deltas, the Americans, and the Uniteds because that's their market. Like you and I were looking at Frontier flights to Vegas, and we were still able to find them for in the $80 range. Now we have to leave Vegas at 7 in the morning, but hey, for $80, that's not that bad of a deal. So yes, in the sense that the big flight carriers are probably going to remain the same price in the 150 to 200 plus dollars, depending on where you want to go. But also just be on the lookout for deals. And I don't think that this is permanent, so to say.
Do you think that this is something that they released to kind of like give the other CEOs of these other places like, hey, let's keep these prices up?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, at the end of the day, these airlines are trying to make money. Now, they want our business, yes, and even companies like Southwest used to love to, say like, hey, we're better than the other carriers because we care about you. You can pick your seat. You don't have to pay for bags. That's all gone ever since, private equity. That's what killed these airlines. But yes, unfortunately, that is kind of where we are at in, the travel society right now is the prices are pretty high. You can blame inflation, you can blame fuel cost, labor cost, technology, whatever. But at the end of the day, they need people's money to operate, and prices to get too high, people are going to say, okay, I really don't need to go on that vacation, or okay, I really don't need to go here that bad if it's going to cost this much money. So I think we're at a high right now, but if people stop traveling, it could go down. So just be on the lookout, guys, for deals, and don't let what Delta says scare you.
So, in other Disney news, another kid actually jumps out of the Tiana Bayou Adventure. We just talked about this last week, how a kid jumped off and he actually fell down the slide.
Yeah, and this one didn't fall down. It looks like they just were able to get out and just walk out. Now, I've did a little bit more research into this. Apparently, this is not all that uncommon at Disneyland. There was a girl who was having a panic attack who she got off the ride and went to the exit. Now, the big problem with this is the log design at Disneyland. Like we said last week, the one in Magic Kingdom in Florida, they have a lap bar. So, unless you have the strength of the Hulk, there's not a way to really get out of that. And even when I got stuck on Tiana's Bayou Adventure when we went in February, they had to come in, unlock the bars for us to even get out. We were stuck there.
But you kind of mentioned to me off air like that the reason they don't have it like lap bars there is because if it flips over, is that correct? Like they could like drown because you can't get out.
Yeah, and it's a design flaw because the design at Disneyland is more of a typical log flume ride like you would see at your local theme park, where you just sit front to back, and then there's nowhere, you can't go left, you can't go right, you just kind of sit. And I think that there might be like a seatbelt. I haven't been to Disneyland in a very long time, but it's very very easy to get out of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Now, what I think will happen is because if this continuously becomes an issue, then Disney will have no choice but to redesign the ride again and then incorporate some sort of safety mechanism so these guests don't get out. Luckily, this kid didn't fall down the slide or the big drop, so this kid just got out. But I mean, at the end of the day, doesn't it kind of come down to the parents to control the kid?
Do you think that this is like a like everyone's doing it, like is the new thing?
It's a trend. It
Yeah.
could potentially be a TikTok challenge to walk off of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So, but Disneyland did comment on it and tell TMZ that daily operation at the theme park includes temporary halting of attractions for several reasons. We're told the occurrence on Saturday was appropriately handled by cast members who temporarily stopped the attraction to assist the guests and resumed it. So, essentially, yeah, this dumb kid gets off the ride, maybe exits. The cast members probably kick him out of the park, ban him from Disney. The ride continues. Like I said, luckily no one was hurt in uh, this person leaving, but I think this ride will definitely get a full makeover pretty soon if this continues to be a trend.
As someone that's actually been on this ride, do you feel like that it's that scary that people should be getting out of it?
No, um, I can't speak for everyone's fears. I mean, I've ridden very scary roller coasters. A log flume ride is not that scary. The drop is not even the biggest log flume drop I think I've been on. I mean, I feel without all the scenery around it, I think it's only a 50-foot drop. And you and I have been on roller coasters that are you know quadruple that drop size. So no, I don't really think that it's that scary, especially considering most of the ride is a slow moving ride. I mean, yes, this ride is designed to be, I guess, quote, scary and thrilling for smaller kids, but the people that are jumping off here are teenagers. So it's not like little 8-year-old Timmy is too scared to ride, so he runs away. It's just these teenagers acting a fool of themselves.
So, in other Disney news, so Space Mountain may actually get a long refurbishment.
Yeah, so according to this is a rumor I want to say. So this is the www.magic.com, and they're pretty accurate as far as projecting when certain rides will go down for refurbishment. So in the past 2 years alone, Disney has completely refurbished Big Thunder Mountain, which is one of their other more iconic roller coasters. It opened this year. Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, and now they're currently working on the Carousel of Progress. So it makes sense that Space Mountain would go through a refurbishment. I mean, I don't think they're going to completely rebuild the coaster from top to bottom. I think they're just more so going to retrack it, maybe add a few more effects. But Jesse, I would say that this is one of, if not the most iconic rides in all of Disney World. Would you agree with me?
Oh yeah, absolutely, definitely. Everyone knows that. Even people who hasn't been to Disney, they would know what Space Mountain is.
Exactly. And I think that showing this ride a little bit of tender love and care will go a long way. Now, if you, let's say producer Allie, she's been begging you to go to Disney for a very long time, you finally get a chance to go and Space Mountain's closed. Are you going to be a little disappointed?
I mean, I definitely think we should go, and we would go. I would definitely go on this ride, of course. But how long do you think this would like last? Like if they did refurbish it?
It usually takes about a year to completely refurbish a ride, or at least retrack it, because Big Thunder Mountain was closed from January 25 to about March or April of 26. I know, I mean, I know it's not Disney, but Universal closed Jurassic Park ride, and they're going to be down for about 10 months for refurbishment. So these longer refurbishments do tend to take about a year. So yeah, it would. I wouldn't say it would be a deal breaker for me because I have ridden that ride so many times, but it's also a staple of every time I go to Disney, I want to ride Space Mountain. That's one of my go-to attractions when I'm not getting stuck, on Tiana's Bayou Adventure, of course.
Is there anything that you think that they should be fixing on that ride, or make it better?
It has gotten rough. I mean, the ride opened in the 70s, so naturally roller coasters do tend to show their age, I believe, after about 20 years. And I do believe that they did have a refurbishment in the 90s. So it's pretty overdue just for some tender love and care. And even if it's just a simple retrack and maybe adding some more lighting effects, how Space Mountain is when you go through the ride, they still use practical effects like projection stars in the dark, and you can't see the track in front of you. A very it's a very Disney experience. I think everyone should do. Maybe they can add a little bit more graphics, maybe see some solar systems, or add a little bit more screens in there to really enhance the you're in going through space experience.
Probably like update to the technology and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yes. And maybe they'll change the tracks where it's 2 people per row instead of what it currently is right now at Magic Kingdom. It's 1 person per row to update the capacity. So yeah, I would say that it will, if this does happen, like I said, this is a rumor, but www.magic.com is pretty good at projecting when the rumors will be. So for this next segment, we are going to bring on 2 of our guests, and we do want to apologize because the audio does sound a little bit different because it was recorded in a different location than where we normally record. So please give us some grace with that. The audio will sound a little bit more hollow, but we appreciate you guys listening, and our next guests have very, very insightful tips as to what you can do on your next Disney trip. So joining us now is Lydysay and Jasper, and they're here to talk about not only some of their upcoming Disney trips, but also these 2 have been to all Disney parks around the world. Now, the first question I have for you guys is, what made y'all decide to want to not only go to the Disney American parks, but explore all parks in, France, China, and Japan as well?
Well, hi, so I just wanted to visit all the Disneys in the world as a bucket list. I enjoy travel, so I feel like that was the best plan for me to do. Is I'm just going to start with all the Disneys in the world, and it helps with the destination part. Because I'm like, we already know where we're going. These are the countries. This is the list. Here's the year plan that it's going to take to do it. So that's why I chose Disney. We are Disney Vacation Club members, so I think that also helps with like our cost staying at Disney resorts. So it helped with our travel as well. It's terms of cost.
So Lindsay, so a follow-up question. So what is the Disney Vacation Club?
So it's basically a timeshare. You purchase a certain amount of points with Disney, and you can stay at any of the resorts depending on the amount of points that you get. So every year you renew, like we have 100 points every year, and then we can use those points to reserve any of the Disney resort hotels anywhere around the world. So it helps when we travel with our costs, because at least our hotel is always covered. And that's also what helped us decide that we're going to travel the world and go to Disney, because our hotels will always be paid.
Now, a little bit of a follow-up question I have on that is, when you do pick your parks, let's say in France, Japan, or the other 2 parks in China, every single one has Disney resorts attached to it, correct? You can always stay there. You don't ever have to stay off property.
Correct. Yeah, all of them have Disney resorts that to them, so that helps us. And there's one in Hawaii as well, but that one doesn't have a Disney park. It's just a resort there.
Gotcha. And what order did you go to these parks? I'm assuming, did you start with the American parks first, and then did you go to Japan, Paris, Hong Kong, or Shanghai afterwards?
Yeah. So we definitely started in the U.S. first. Disney World was the first one we visited together as a couple. It was actually our first year anniversary, which I was like a kid in a candy store going to Disney World for the first time. Then naturally we went to Cali for the Disneyland, and then from there, once we actually had the funds to afford to go internationally, we started to slowly make our way around the world, which I believe the first one was China, actually, right, in Hong Kong. So, but yeah, we made sure we could afford it first before we started traveling internationally.
So y'all went to China first. So did y'all go to Hong Kong or Shanghai first?
We went to Hong Kong first, which, funny enough, that wasn't our initial intention. We didn't know we needed travel visas to go into China. This was our first time traveling internationally as a couple. And so when we got to the New York airport, we found out in a very interesting way that we couldn't travel to China unless we had travel visas. Kind of long story short, they taught us a way around it, which is to visit China for, I think, 3 days, go to a different country, and then come back to China. It's called like a pass-through, like a temporary visa that you're passing through. So in order to make this China trip work, we had to, after 3 days being in China, leave China to go to Hong Kong because it's not considered technically part of China. And we're like, well, we're going to be in Hong Kong for like 2 or 3 days. We might as well go to the Disney there. So that's kind of how we ended up there.
I mean, that's certainly a happy accident right there when it comes to going to Hong Kong and Disneyland. Kind of going a little bit off script there, but how would you say these international parks compare to the American parks? Do they feel very similar, or do you still feel like there's a certain, Chinese, Japanese, or French, aesthetic to those parks?
I do think the countries have their own aesthetic, especially with the food. Their food is typically tailored more towards whatever country that we've been in or that they're in. And so that's what I love the most about traveling to all the Disneys is all the food that they have. And well, not just like the restaurant foods, but the snacks are also completely different. The costs associated for food, all the international ones are significantly cheaper than the ones here on U.S. soil. But the rides, the characters, that's all similar. Most of the shows are still in that country's language, which is good. I mean, we watch the shows and we don't know what they're saying, but it's still entertaining because it's the same characters.
Yeah, it's still Mickey Mouse, at the end of the day. He's just speaking, English, Mandarin, or Japanese. Kind of going back to the planning aspect of all these Disney trips, like how far in advance do you usually have to plan them in order to make these trips happen?
So with our Disney Vacation Club, we shorten it to just DVC. So our DVC membership, they open up 7 months in advance for booking. So we book the hotel within that 7 month mark, and then flights usually we do 3 to 4 months ahead, and the tickets it's usually not for like 60 days before we go out. So there's the first thing is the hotel, and that whatever availability they have is going to be what our trip is going to be, because we're also not fighting, but going against other people that are wanting to book those rooms as well, because they sell out fast. So it's really dependent.
So you did say you stayed at the Disney resort. So which ones is your favorite?
For me, I don't know if this is going to be a shocker, but for me, I like the resort in Animal Kingdom, even though I've traveled internationally. And the reason for that is because of the animals itself. You get a pretty cool view exiting your room. They have like windows along all the walls. So as you're like literally traveling to the center, because it's kind of like a circle or like a semicircle, the Animal Kingdom Resort, or at least the one we stayed at, where you're walking towards the center of the building, you actually have a cool view of like giraffes and different animals there. So for me personally, that was my favorite.
And then kind of going back to the food aspect that we talked about, what was the big difference between, let's say, food that you would normally get at Magic Kingdom or any of the Florida parks and California parks versus the ones that you see internationally?
Well, to put it bluntly, the food's fresh. I mean, no offense to our own country. It's just, and it's true. I mean, just being able to compare it, the food is fresher. You could tell that they actually, like, the quality of the food is just much better. Other than obviously it being different, American versus like Asian food or wherever we were at, but the quality for sure, hands down, is better, especially in Japan and even in China. Those two countries, in terms of their Disney parks, have the best food, in my opinion.
So, kind of following up on that, I know that Japan is very well known for their popcorn. And I've seen some things online, they have like barbecue flavored popcorn or just crazy flavors. Did you try any of those kind of flavored popcorn when you were in Japan?
We did. And I can't remember exactly all the flavors we tried because every popcorn station was a different flavor and like all throughout the park. And they give you like these, or you could buy these like buckets and you just pay for like refills. But it was so good. Like all the flavors that we tried were so good. There were sweet flavors, savory flavors, salty flavors. And they were just delicious. Like that's something that you have to do when you're in Tokyo Disney.
All right, one more follow-up, last popcorn question. Did you get the little popcorn Mickey Mouse hands to eat the popcorn as well? I've seen that online as well.
Get that.
Yeah, well, wish we did.
So, did you feel like it was hard to like talk to people there that worked at the park and all that? Did you have any issues with that?
Actually, surprisingly, no. Lucky for American tourists, a lot of these international parks, a lot of people speak English. And even the ones that don't, there's always someone somewhere that speaks English. So for the most part, we had no difficulty communicating with anyone.
Would you say that there was any sort of cultural differences the international parks had compared to the American parks?
I think culturally, most of the parks were in Asia. And I think that there is a difference in culture in terms of respect, right? Like they're like the Japanese bow and you know, the Chinese say thank you a lot, so xie xie a lot. And they're just so friendly. Like they're just so friendly. And I enjoyed that. Like compared to here in the US, it's, you know, very busy. It's very fast-paced culture. And I feel like in all the Disney parks internationally that we went to, they weren't super crowded. They weren't busy. They weren't, like, we didn't feel rushed. None of the waits were an hour long. Like, we got to actually enjoy our time there. So I'm not sure if, like, they limit the amount of tickets that they sell per day. But as far as the culture, there's just respect for everybody, and there's less people, and everyone's so nice, and like there's no one fighting in line. You know, like yeah, go ahead, you got your first.
That's definitely an American thing that we have when we're fighting over line.
Hey, not just a cruise ship.
It's not just cruise ships. Well, you kind of talked about the line issues overseas. Did you have to use any sort of Disney apps in order to navigate the park and to show wait times, similar to how we do it here in America with Disney World and Disneyland?
Yes, we did get the app for all of the parks, but we didn't really need to use them. We did use them like to scan our tickets and just to see a map of the park and where we were going, but we didn't really use it for wait times. There was no fast passes or lightning lanes or anything like that. Well, we did actually purchase two in Japan for one of the rides, the Beauty and the Beast ride, and then in Shanghai for the Zootopia Land. Those are the only times that we did purchase, I guess, Lightning Lane passes, but they were still super cheap. They were like $18 maybe, and it was per person, but that's still cheaper than here in the U.S., so it was still worth it.
Considering I paid $25 to ride Rise of the Resistance, yes, I would definitely say that that's cheaper to do it overseas. How about the size of the parks by comparison? Did you feel like any of the international parks were smaller than the ones here in America?
If we're comparing it to, I'm assuming Disney World, because obviously you have Disneyland in California, definitely more appropriately sized compared to the Disney World in Orlando. I feel like in Orlando, you're going on a walking marathon to where the sun's beating on you, it's randomly raining every now and then, and so for me, I was tired. I've been to all 5 parks, or we've been to all 5 parks in Orlando, in Disney World, and it was exhausting. Or 4, okay, sorry. But in like compared to, let's say, Japan, I honestly didn't feel exhausted. So I wouldn't say they're considerably smaller, but I just feel like it's more appropriately sized for what they had.
Were all the parks designated like for the same age group, or do you feel like they're different ages?
I think it's the same for any age, I suppose. I think Disney just does a good job at making you feel like you're a kid. Like even taking like pictures with some of the characters. My experience has been the same throughout all the parks. They made me feel like I'm a little girl coming to try and take a picture with the princess, you know, and they've just always made me feel like a kid. But I think it's that culture from Disney is the same in all the parks.
Now, do you have a favorite park of the bunch, including the American parks?
For me, just kind of comparing everything, I would say Japan was my favorite only because they had a major difference, which was Disney Sea, which no other Disney around the world has, which I love water parks, and Disney Sea for me was definitely worth it.
So, kind of a little bit of follow-up question on Tokyo Disney Sea. Did it feel like it was as if Disney had an unlimited budget and just went crazy with that park?
I would say so. I was pretty impressed with everything at Disney Sea. I'm very particular with water parks. My first water park was SeaWorld here in San Antonio, where I'm from, and that's definitely a little underwhelming. So if anyone's been to SeaWorld, I say Disney Sea is a definite upgrade from that.
All right. So what was your favorite ride, attraction, or experience at each park?
At each park. Disneyland, like here in California, is Cars Land. Cars Land is my favorite. From all the Disneylands in the world, I still love Cars Land the best. I think they did such a good job at making you feel like you're actually in Route 66. So that's my favorite with California. Disney World in Florida. I think my favorite is Epcot because I just enjoy culture and travel, and you just get to visit all of the different places there, and they have really good, like, imitating, what is it? Like, sculptures of whatever country it is.
For me, I agree with the Disneyland in California. Cars Land was awesome. I like Animal Kingdom section, what is it called? The Pandora section. And then that one ride where you're like riding on they're not called pterodactyls, the Banshees, I'm going to call them pterodactyls.
Flight of Passage.
Yeah, the Flight of Passage, one of the best rides I rode, comparing to all Disney, by the way, so that definitely an experience. And then for me internationally, I don't know if I have a favorite ride just because I'm a big foodie. So when we traveled internationally, I was more obsessed with the food, oddly enough, around the Disney parks, which I am not impressed with the Disney's here in the US in terms of food. So I liked all the rides and and the different countries. The rides honestly didn't differ too much from Disney World, to be honest. They were very similar. So the food and the cleanliness and the organization of the lines is what separates the international Disneys from the ones we have here in the U.S., in my opinion.
So you kind of hinted at this a little bit. It says, how clean are the different parks, and did any of them stand out differently?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think Japan was probably or Tokyo Disney was the cleanest park by far. There's just no trash anywhere. Everything's clean. All the tables are clean all the time. There's
I've heard that just about Japan in general.
Yeah.
Like, so it makes sense that the park would be too.
Yeah. You could literally, I felt like you could literally lay down on the floor and you'll be okay. Like I was dirtying their floor if I laid down on it. That's what it felt like. Just culturally, everyone has an expectation to clean up after themselves. So there really was not that much to clean for the staff because the people culturally just naturally picked up their own trash, put it where it belonged, and just went about their day. So yeah, it was definitely the cleanest. I don't think Hong Kong, unfortunately, I think that's the inverse of that. Not that it was super dirty, still definitely cleaner than the American parks, but out of the international ones, I think Hong Kong is kind of lower on my list for the international parks.
I mean, yeah, Japan, I think, just set the bar so high as far as cleanliness goes that, nothing else really compares to them. So, as we all know, people have been to Disney, it can be expensive. So I kind of have a two-part question. One, how do you guys try to save your money as best you can to go to these international parks? And two, is it true that you can sometimes go to an international park cheaper than you can here in America?
Yes. So the Disney World tickets are ridiculous. Right now,
Yes, I agree.
right now I think they're like maybe 207 for a day. Which is insane to me. So when all the international parks have been like maybe $80 or less a day, and I mean that's affordable compared to here in the U.S. But flight wise as well, like we've internationally we usually fly Zip Air, which is a Japanese budget airline. And you can get round trip tickets from here to Houston to Tokyo for like $600. And that's economy. They do have like more expensive seats, but we've always just flown economy. Yeah.
Nowadays, it's $200 just to fly any other airline from Houston to Orlando. I mean,
Yeah.
It's not terribly much more expensive to fly to Japan to go to Disney there.
Absolutely. And I talk about this with my coworkers. They're like, man, you travel so much internationally. Like, how do you afford it? And I'm like, it's cheaper. I'm like, I could take a 2.5-hour flight for the same price as a 14-hour flight and not be in Japan. So that's always helped us with our budget. Is we usually book low-end budget airlines, and it ends up being cheaper than just flying domestically in the U.S.
And BBC, of course. We obviously alluded to that earlier, but I think if you're going to want to travel Disney or go to all the Disney resorts as a part of your bucket list, I think as an investment, having being a DVC member is worth it because it does definitely save you money on the resorts, which can add up for sure.
So, how about transportation? Once you fly into Tokyo, Hong Kong, Shanghai, or Paris, is there usually a transportation system that will take you to the parks, or do you have to worry about getting a rental car to get there?
We've never had a rental car. We've always just used public transportation. Google Maps is awesome. It works all throughout the world. And it's usually cheaper. And now, like, or at least all the places we've been to with Disney's, it's everything you just pay on your phone. Like with the credit card, what is it, Apple Pay? Samsung too, whatever Samsung's pay is. But yeah, and you just go to the train station, scan your phone and go, and it's like $1, $2, like one way. And that's how we've always traveled, is just through public transportation or the bus. But Google Maps just maps it out for you and shows you where to go.
I think internationally it's so much simpler than here in America. I mean, we've all been to Orlando International Airport. It's far away from any of the theme parks, and same depending on where you go in California. You go to LAX, it's an hour drive from there just to go to Disneyland. In addition to the parks, you guys do go on Disney cruises as well. Which Disney cruise ship have you sailed on, and do you have a particular favorite one?
We've only been on one so far, which I'm sure that's going to change in the near future. We went on the Disney Magic for Lindsay's sister's wedding, which was beautiful. It was very, very nice ship. Although it was really nice, because I've been on other cruises too, obviously like Carnival and Royal Caribbean. For that one in particular, it didn't have as much to do, like amenity-wise.
You mean Disney Wish?
Or Disney Wish, sorry, not Disneyland. Yeah, Disney Wish, yeah. Yeah, that's obviously I only been on one.
Well, y'all are going on Carnival Magic.
Yeah, too many trips in 1 year. But that the Disney Wish, it didn't have as much to do as I was expecting. I've never been on a Disney cruise, so when I went on that one, I was kind of expecting more activities since we've been to the Disney resorts around the world, and I don't know, maybe my expectations were a little too high, but it just didn't have as much to offer in terms of activities.
So do y'all think y'all are going to be trying to do all the Disney cruise ships?
No. But that's my sister's goal. My sister has been making her way through all the Disney cruise ships, and we're just sticking with the parks.
So how does the cruise ships compare to the park? Like, do you feel like it's themed just as much as the parks, or you feel like entertainment? How does that compare?
I do think it's similar to the parks in terms of like the characters that walk around, the entertainment that's there, all the restaurants and bars and everything on the ship is themed. One thing I did love about the Disney Wish was they had a Star Wars bar, and that was super cool. Like the door would open sideways as if you were on the ship.
Did you have them serving you as well?
Oh,
See, that's where they blew the budget on somewhere else.
Right.
So for someone who dreams of visiting every Disney park in the world, what's your biggest piece of advice?
my biggest piece of advice is to try to clump as much as you can. So like if you're gonna go to China, do both, do Shanghai and then do Hong Kong. And then I mean I think that's the only one you can clump for. But it's possible. You know, it did take us 8 years to do it. We did visit one park a year within the 8 years. Well, I'm including Hawaii, but it's possible. All of our flights that we took were budget airlines, even between countries. We took their budget airlines, like that country's budget airline. So like flights in between were like $200 for like the three of us. Like it's possible. To save money, like if you don't have like a DVC membership, there's a lot of hotels around all of the parks. And in other countries, like our budget for hotels, like if we didn't stay at a DVC resort was like $130, and you can get a decent hotel for at least $130 anywhere.
Except here.
Except California and Florida. But anywhere else. Yeah, so it is possible, and it does take a lot of planning. Even like every time we fly after our first experience of not knowing we needed a visa, like it is a lot of paperwork. Like it's just, there's, even if it's not a visa, like Japan, you don't need a visa. France, you don't need a visa, but there's paperwork that you have to fill out. And it's a lot of planning. But now that we have ChatGPT, oh my gosh, like we just input our itinerary. We had a 2.5 week vacation, like Asia trip. We went to 4 different countries, and I'm like, hey, ChatGPT, we're going here. What do we need? and it just planned it out for us. It told us what to say to avoid having to apply for visas when we were traveling to different locations. So that's helpful if like you're new to traveling. Like ChatGPT is going to be your best friend.
Yes, I have actually more of my recent trips. I've done ChatGPT as well, and it'll like tweak it. It'll suggest certain things, and of course, ChatGPT thinks we have like an unlimited budget if we're going to certain places. But yes, I definitely agree with you that ChatGPT is one of the best travel advices you can, especially if you're traveling somewhere new. So. One more thing, looking back, is there anything you would do differently if you were starting this journey over?
Ooh, that's a great question, and I think I'm going to answer the previous question and this current question all in one answer. So I would say for me, what I would do differently is pack wisely. I know that sounds simpler or easier said than done, but going to especially when you go travel internationally, you've never done it, this is going to save a lot of heartache. Like for example, when we went to Japan, we didn't know how the washers worked in some of their hotels. So when we were trying to clean our clothes, and we were trying to put it in the dryer, it kept washing the clothes continuously to where our clothes just remained wet for like days. So, and we had way too many clothes, I think, than was needed. So we got a little smarter over the years traveling internationally. We used like these vacuum sealed bags to where you put, of course, you fold your clothes the way you want to in these vacuum sealed bags, and then with the vacuum, it sucks out all the air and it condenses your packs of clothes as tightly as possible. Because obviously, when you're traveling internationally, you're going to need more clothes than traveling domestically. But again, you don't want to overpack. Like, trust me on this one, especially if you've never traveled outside of the U.S. You're going to want to travel lightly, but not too lightly, if that makes sense.
It also depends what time of year you go. It's like when we went to Japan and Paris, it was really cold. And it's hard to pack light when it's freezing.
Yeah.
So just, also being aware of the weather and stuff. But in terms of anything that I would do differently, I think I would have wanted to do like Shanghai and Hong Kong together on one trip, and I don't think like Hong Kong and Paris, their parks are really small. There's two separate parks for both locations, but like you could do them in one day. Like we did them each separately, like one day for one park, one day for the other park. But to save money too, going to the previous question, like you can do both in Paris and in Hong Kong, you can do both parks in one day. So that helps. And I would have rather have done that because I think even for Paris, the second park, not the Disneyland park, I think it's called Hollywood Studios. That park, like we were there for maybe 4 hours. This is kind of small. But yeah, so that's, I think, something I would do differently also to help save money.
So now that you've kind of completed this bucket list, what's the next adventure? Is there another bucket list that y'all are going to be working on?
Not Disney related. For me, it's to visit the original Seven Wonders of the World, which I've only literally done one, which is the Great Wall of China. I've wanted to see the Colosseum. Oh, I guess Chichen Itza counts. But that's my bucket list, to visit the original Seven Wonders of the World for me.
Don't forget the eighth wonder, the Astrodome. That's there.
Okay, there you go. I can complete that one probably today.
They are opening a Disneyland in Abu Dhabi in sometime in the 2030s. So that's going to be on the bucket list once it does open. But we'll see how that goes.
So the last question, actual last question this time, says if Disney announced a brand new park tomorrow anywhere in the world, where would you want it to be and what theme would you want it to have?
This is a cop-out answer because I'm lazy. I would want it to be in Houston because I don't want to travel. right? Or somewhere in Texas at minimum, just because it'll obviously save on like flights and stuff.
We've been saying that forever because
Right.
you got some on the East Coast, you got some on the West Coast. They need something central,
Exactly.
and Texas is the best spot for it.
I believe it. Everything's bigger in Texas anyway.
I mean, Houston, we don't have a theme park at all besides, like Kima Boardwalk or Pleasure Pier. So we're due for a Disney.
There you go. We could all petition for that. And for me, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so if they could somehow theme Star Wars or like have a big Star Wars section, that would be amazing for me.
Was there any other piece of advice that you want to give everyone or anything else you want to add? A favorite memory of any of these international parks?
The only thing I will say is that it's an awesome experience. Like not just because it's Disney and it's like magical, but like culturally, it's really awesome. Like you're seeing, different shows in different languages, and the characters are typically dressed in that culture's like clothing attire, and and the food obviously is amazing. But yeah, it's a wonderful experience. I would recommend it for anybody. If that's a dream of yours and you enjoy Disney, I highly recommend getting the DVC membership because that has been worth it. And we bought resale with the DVC. If you buy directly, it's way, way expensive. So just buy resale with the DVC membership too.
Thank you, Lydysay and Jasper, for coming on and talking about the international Disney parks. It's been very insightful, and I'm sure you inspired some of our audience to take their own Disney bucket list challenge as well and explore those international parks.
And that'll do it for this week's episode of the Lido Loop. As always, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. Check out our Facebook page, we are the Lido Loop, and our YouTube channel, the Lido Loop as well. I'm Jack, that's Jesse, and we will see you
On the Lido deck.
or at Tokyo Disney Sea, because that is the best Disney park in the world.
Thank you for watching this episode of Lido Loop. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you're notified every time we post more content.